Met the devil back when I was 31, full of beer and speed and close to death. Well, that officer, there were drugs in that old house. Just looked at me kind of funny and they left. I'm forever in his debt. I met Jesus in a room full of drunks 3 weeks after my last binge. He took away this hole inside of me, chasing demons from my head. I'm forever in his debt. I'm forever in his debt. I met Diana in a Fort Worth saloon. The owner there gave me a second chance. She put $5 in my tip jar and she left. But I'd be seeing her again. I'm forever in his debt. Looking back on all the money that I spent, just finding new ways to sin. Hard to believe he could forgive me, but he did. Yes, he did. I'm forever in his debt. I met Chuck downtown Dallas. He was digging through a trash can. I took a $20 bill out of my pocket. I put it in his hand. He said, well, thank you. I just shook my head. I said, man, you don't understand. I'm forever in his debt. Looking back on all the truth I chose to bend, all the pain I've caused my family and my friends. Hard to believe he could forgive me, but he did. Yes, he did. I'm forever in his debt. I'm forever in his debt. I'm forever in his debt.
Awesome. Love that one, man. That's great. Cool. Well, explain to me though, because I do one thing I don't understand.
Yeah.
And I've listened to it so many times, but I'm just trying to figure out the beginning. So the cop comes, talks to you, and then he leaves. So,
Yeah.
So he didn't take it.
I told him that I told him there were drugs in the house, and I had just climbed out of the back of an ambulance over on Willingham, out in Buckingham, Texas, and because I wasn't gonna let him take me again, because I just couldn't bear to see my mom there, and so I walked up and the officer actually let me in my house. And I told him, I said, and I got drugs here. I'm done. I said, I'm done. You know, there's drugs here. I don't care if I gotta go to jail, whatever. You know, I figured I was going to jail. And he just looked at me real kind of like, and he just walked out to the car.
Huh.
And that's when I went in and had my come to Jesus moment. You know, I mean, I remember hitting my knees and saying, God help me. That's all I said. That was the basic, but I meant it,
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, I mean, I didn't see anybody, see his face or anything like that, but I felt this, this, just this love come over me, and it said, everything's going to be all right.
Huh.
It's all going to change right here, right now, and just lean on me. And that's all it felt like, and all of a sudden, I mean, I just started crying. I knew, and then my phone starts ringing. I run, and it's my mom. I can't talk. It's my brother. I can't talk. I'm hanging up on. I finally just unplugged my phone. I don't know how long I was there crying or whatever, but I remember standing up and saying, okay, I'm going to do this like a man. Went and washed my face, cleaned up, because I looked disgusting. And I said, okay. So I walked out my front door to go to jail, and the ambulance is gone, the police are gone, the birds are singing, there's nobody there. And so I went inside, called my mom. I said, I need help. She came and got me, and I went over and stayed in the trailer behind her house for about a week, drying out and going to meetings every day, 3 meetings a day. And then about a week into it, that's when it was at a men's meeting where there was just guys. It was just a bunch of guys, and this old man comes down there, and he's like, he goes, I'm so and so, and by the grace of my higher power is Jesus Christ. And I was like, there it is, man. That's it. And it was about 2 weeks in before my sponsor was telling me, hey, I want you to stay and listen to this guy's testimony, because it was testimony night. And I'm like, I don't know, he's a biker dude. I don't have anything in common with him at all. I don't even want to hear it. And I was sitting there, and boom, the guy starts talking, and it was like that podium just came right to me. And he was telling my story. This guy didn't look anything like me, act anything like me, was exactly like me. But I left that meeting. That's when I actually physically felt the desire to drink pulled out of me. And it's not so much the drinking, it's just where one thing led me to another. I was just a bit. I never went to jail, never had anything really bad happen, but it was taking over everything. I was like, I might be sober on Monday, but come Tuesday, all the way through, and I would be up partying for 3 days at a time, 4 days, to the point I was hallucinating. And I didn't care. But I never went to jail. Can't believe it. I should have.
And how long ago was that?
That's been over 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been sober for 20. But the main thing was, if I was going to keep playing, because I got fired. I was at the White Elephant Saloon, and I passed out on the stage. I literally passed out, and Joe Dooley owned the place at the time, and he was not a very big guy, but when you're laying down at the bottom of the hill and he's standing up at the top of the hill looking down at you, saying, I don't think you're going to be playing here next week. He looked pretty big.
Yeah.
But I called him like the very next week. I said, hey man, if I don't drink, will you let me play? He goes, can you do that? I'm like, oh, it's worth a try. And that's pretty much, how I got to keep playing.
Yeah. Huh.
So then it was like, that's when I started making money. It was like after a year of sobriety. After that, I never all I've done is play since then. But nothing really came together till I was a year sober.
Yeah.
And that was, but, it's not for everybody. Like you could probably drink a couple beers that wasn't the way it worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
It would just make me mad.
Yeah.
So, but don't need it anymore.
Yeah. So that's a cool testimony in and of itself, right there.
Well, people always want to buy you beer and stuff, and I'm gonna say, well, maybe tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, when you're on stage, because I remember Ray Wally Hubbard the first time I saw it when he had, changed, and people would ask him, and they'd be bringing shots up, and he's like, nah, that ain't enough. That ain't enough. That's not enough. And he'd finally, get to a point where he'd just go, look, unless you're gonna bring a whole case and a chainsaw, we're not leaving until we tear this mother down. He goes, don't even think about it.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool.